It was a cold Wednesday morning in October when I get the call to go to flat 34 Beechwood Road. Another burglary, Hassan says. Been a right spate of burglaries in the area recently. This is the fourth one I've been called out to now in 2 weeks. I recognise the address. I've been there before. Leanne West, a woman whose son was physically abused back in May. She must recognise me when I turn up to the flat, but she doesn't acknowledge me. She's still probably pissed off with the police after we stopped the investigation into finding out who caused the bruises on her son's body. She's convinced that it was her then boyfriend at the time, Tony Bragg, who had done it. The son, the boy, Harry, had apparently disclosed this information to his grandma, Leanne's mum, and also to his maternal aunt, and also to a social worker. But the police tried 4 or 5 times and the boy said nothing. Leanne didn't help herself either when she said that although this Bragg fellow was at the house at the time of the assault, he was never left alone with the boy. When we interviewed the boyfriend at the station, he said exactly the same thing. The stories marry up, and we can't get a disclosure from the boy. So as we said to her at the time, I'm sorry, Leanne, but a formal decision has been made that the evidential threshold for a prosecution can't be met. Well, when she hears this, she turns to me and says, "You think I did this, don't you?" That's not what we meant at all. I mean, of course, it is possible that Leanne could have done it, but it was obvious that the boy was very close to his mum. Just didn't seem feasible. He was very tactile towards her. It was a complicated investigation, this anyway, because it was a 2-part inquiry, both from the police and the children's social care. We call it a Section 47 inquiry. It can get complicated when 2 agencies are working together. It probably didn't help that I was having a lot of days off as well with this sinus trouble. It also seemed that Leanne was petrified of social services being involved as well. I mean, she kept on thinking that they're going to take her kids away from her. Anyway, today I'm here to talk to Leanne about the burglary. I was staying at my boyfriend's house when it happened in Nottingham, she said. I had nothing to do with Tony at all since he did what he did. She's got this new boyfriend now, Alan. I hope he treats her better than this Tony did. Reminded me of a conversation that Leanne had with one of my colleagues during the abuse investigation. She said that quite often Bragg would lose his temper and would call her names, but Leanne never stated or even suggested it went anything further than that, but obviously he wasn't the nicest of men. I read in some research somewhere that in something like 90% of all child abuse cases that domestic abuse is often involved. Thing was, he was charm itself when we interviewed him. I try and steer the conversation away from Bragg. I explained to Leanne that there's been a spate of burglaries in the area and that we strongly suspect there's a local gang of drug users. But they hardly took anything, she says. They turned the whole place upside down and all they took was a watch and an ornament, she says. This wasn't a proper burglary. This was just to intimidate me, she says. Well, I go to speak, but she cuts in again. This is Tony, she said. Can you prove that? I say. Well, the neighbour says that she's seen his car in the road a couple of times. This is the same neighbour that's reported a verbal argument outside Leanne's house but didn't want to leave her name or her address. She won't leave it alone. Even when we arrest someone the following day in connection to the burglaries in the area, she still maintains that it was Bragg. Now, I know she's been through a lot, and her kids are on a child protection plan, and that must be difficult. But I'm convinced that the lowlife that we've arrested is responsible for all the burglaries in the area, including the one on her flat. And even when we have to release him without charge due to lack of evidence, we all know that he did it. I go round to Leanne's flat to keep her updated, and I'm fully expecting for her to start shouting at me, saying that we've got it wrong and that it was Bragg, but she doesn't. Due to the lack of evidence, we have reluctantly had to release the suspect who we still strongly believe is responsible for the spate of burglaries in the area, including the one on your flat, I say. And to my amazement, she doesn't even mention Bragg. You're probably right, she says. Thanks for keeping me informed. I wonder why she's changed her tune.